we're going live. There we are.
Stream is live.
Guess we're live. Hey, look, folks. Here's a taste of Atlantean 3 we were discussing before we went on the air.
Yeah. So but they're on their way. Pencils will be finished before we go to. In fact, I would imagine there'll be pencils, lettering, and a good portion of inking will be done by the time we go to campaign in July. But by the time the campaign's over, the inks will be done and we'll be ready to go to print. So,
all good.
There you go.
And the cover's already done. It's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful
Absolutely
covers.
fantastic.
Yeah, by Renato. It's done a great job.
Going over to my Facebook now to get that disappointment of not being able to remove my. Yep. Still, man, I will figure out that button one of these days. Anyway, sorry, folks, if you were watching us on Facebook, on my Facebook, we're not. I'm not able to switch that from private to public until after the show. So, thanks to their wonderful software, for who knows why, it just won't.
Who knows why?
Just won't change. So, and it's not our fault, honestly, or I would have done it. All right, hey, everybody, come in. We see you out there. The chat's live, so don't be afraid to contribute. Talk it up. We're going to look at some John Buscema Avengers art, most of it in black and white, some of it in gray tone, because they shot it off of the actual comics for the Essentials book. But it's great stuff anyway, no matter how they shot it. And we're going to be taking a look at it right as soon as we run the opening. Marvy's already in the house. Appreciate you, Marvy. Thanks for being here. You said stalling for time and scrolling. Loading up too many video shorts.
Scrolling.
Pretty much. There we are. Here we are.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time, with theory.
Total concentration. Here we are, folks. Comics by Night. I'm your host, Randy Zimmerman. Arrow Comics is my company, and right now we are working on the Atlantean, the adventures of Cull and Brule, traveling the lands, ridding their kingdom of shape-shifting lizard people. There are 2 volumes out, as well as the Shadow Kingdom, which is a direct adaptation of the classic Robert E. Howard story. We're very, very proud of. I adapted it. Russ is drawing it. It's looking really, really good. Number 3 is well deep into production, as you saw at the start of this program. And can't express enough how proud I am to be associated with this project, and hope you get a chance to read it. So other than that, we are here to look at great comics, and to help us do that, Mr. Glenn Fleming is with us this morning. Glenn, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Glenn Fleming. I've been known to write a few things. I've got over 1 million words in print, especially this one, which details my visit to the late, great Jack Kirby to his home in California. Check that out on Amazon and New Haven Publishing. I also draw, and that's my character Hatch. And this is his annotated book. This details... He's been around about 40 years, so this character, it just details how he came to be, and there's lots of published and unpublished artwork in there somewhere. There's the black and white version. You can check that out on Fun My Comic. And occasionally I publish magazines about comics. This was from the Orts Crikey magazine, Great British Comics magazine. It interviews and articles about British comics. I also wrote and produced Super Spies, which is about super spies. And lately I publish Comics Unlimited, which is a 100-page magazine similar to Crikey, but with a worldwide, we cover all the stuff in there, Spider-Man and all that kind of thing. So check those out. Those are all on Amazon. And I do lots of other things too. So, but we won't go into that.
All right. Also joining us, Mr. Russ Leach. Russ, please. introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Russ Leach. I'm a comic book artist from the UK, and I'm suffering withdrawal symptoms from not being on a boat. So there you go. But I am enjoying working on the Atlantean. Issue 1 and 2 are out. They are out at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or over at Critical Blast right now. You can go pick them up. Issue 3 is in production. Mid-July, we're going to be going for the campaign. There's going to be a catch-up book for those people who don't have issue 1 and 2, so you might want to get your hands on that. And all things are going really well. While I was away, I had two bad things and one good thing. I was going for because we're talking about Buscema today. I was bidding online at an actual auction to the auction house around the corner from us for a specialist auction, and I missed out on a bunch of Captain America comics from the 60s because of my connection. It gutted me. What do you
mean because of your connection? Sorry,
the connection went down on my phone. Literally just as I was bidding, it went down. And then there was a whole bunch of Conan comics, Savage Sword of Conan. They were about 150, and they went for £15. That's about $20. And I would have bid up to 50 quid for that easily. So I was gutted. However, the good thing happened. My signal held up, and I got the first 10 issues of Savage Sword of Conan.
There you go.
Damn me, that's a really good condition issue 1 right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's got one of my all-time favourite stories. I love Alcala, but Marco Pablos did this issue, and I just
Pablo Marcos.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I did this issue.
Oh, there you go.
It's just fabulous stuff. I got the first 10 issues for £40.
There you go.
I went and looked on eBay, and this issue alone is somewhere between £50 and £150. So there you go. I was very, very pleased. Not that I'm a collector for collector's sake. It's I just love the comics. But first 10, absolutely beside myself. I was.
Just show us some more of that number 1. That's how.
There you go. I've got it in the omnibuses.
Digital. Yeah.
But having the original, look at that.
It's
just absolutely gorgeous. Lovely.
Has Roy Thomas written that?
I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
Look at that.
Classic and the beautiful women in there.
Yeah.
Even the ugly bird is gorgeous. Just every page. Oh, there it goes. Red Sonja. Every page is a delight. Absolute delight.
Classic pose right there.
Red Sonja. Fantastic stuff. So there you go. I had a good holiday, and I had a rather good bidding session, even though I missed out on the others. So there you go.
When you said your connection went down, I thought you meant because of your connection to comics, something.
No. Just
no.
It was literally the connection on my phone, and I'm clicking away to try and bid, and it just didn't happen. And it came back and said, "This has been sold for £15 for 150 Savage Sword of Conan comics." I'm like, no. But I got the first 10, and I'm really happy about that. So
somebody made out like a bandit, though.
Yes, Assad has just come on and said, yes, that's a quality. This is a very good quality version. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
What's that software you can get? Is it called Sniper or something where you can go in? Have you heard about that?
No.
This is from years ago. There was a software that you could purchase for whatever. And when you went on eBay, you activated your Sniper app. And it went in right the last microsecond and beat the final bid just as the hammer was coming down.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Crazy.
Nice. Oh, look at this. Look at that.
Oh,
Essentials Volume 3. Avengers Essentials.
I think I've got that. Let's have a look. Avengers.
Marvy in the house says, "Greetings, sinners. Just came back to wish you a great weekend and drop a like." Glenn, were you able to get the Captain America book?
I've already got it, Marv.
There you go.
I got it first time round when I was 12.
Yeah, those Captain America books I missed out on had the run by Steranko in. That's why I wanted them.
Right at the start then of the Captain America number.
Yeah, I was absolutely gutted. They didn't go for that much either.
Wow.
There you go. I have this book. This is a brilliant book.
Assad Khan. That's a quality issue you got there. Very good condition. Yes, it was. Yeah, very, very good.
Are you going to frame it, Russ, or are you going to read it?
I'm going to read it.
Good.
That's what they're there for.
Yeah,
that's what they're there for. Yeah, I don't do framing. So, yes, it will lose value, but I'm sure it will stay in a reasonable condition. And I'll put a little sticky note on it for my kids when I'm dead.
Yeah. Inside back cover, like I'm doing.
Yeah. A little
for all
sticky
my
note.
kids.
Say,
Don't sell this for a
worth
nickel.
something.
Yeah. This might be worth money. Yeah. Avengers Essentials 3, the John Buscema era. We were looking at the Marvel Treasury earlier, the last couple of episodes. Right there.
Yeah, I missed the end of that because I was on holiday.
We only had one issue left to go. That's why we switched over to the Essentials.
That cover, that's not a John Buscema cover.
no.
No.
It looks a little bit Alan Davis-ish.
Some amateur named Stuart Immerman.
Oh, it's Immerman. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Immelman.
Yeah.
Immelman. Not Zimmerman. No.
Immelman.
Yep. I've got it bookmarked to a good Buscema page here.
Yeah, I had a bit of a thing for Immerman's art for a while, but I got over it.
You got past.
Look at that.
I think the reason I got over Immerman's art is because everybody started to copy him.
Yeah. Well,
So there were so many people doing similar things, a bit like Jim Lee. Everybody started to copy Jim Lee, didn't they? I mean, I did as well when I was back in the day. Everybody started to copy Jim Lee, and I got over it quick, and then realised where all the good stuff was.
Such a different era.
Yeah.
You know, back during these days, everybody was working hard on deadlines, and almost everybody had their own super unique style.
Mm.
Yeah, the most striking thing about that cover for me, and the best part of it, is the way that he's not muscle bound. He's in good shape, but he's not muscle bound. His legs aren't like
That's what I've found. Yeah, in what I try to draw as well is like I'm not interested in putting every sinew on.
Yeah, just keep it real, you know.
Yeah. I want to give a sense of not necessarily reality, but it's keeping people engaged, isn't it? Keeping the reader engaged and a sense of a world that they can believe in. And sometimes, as a lot of the modern artists, it's almost like they're drawing from muscle magazines.
Yeah.
I know because I did a little bit of that for a while.
Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah, we've all done it. But it's like I think what happens is you can get lost in that kind of detail instead of just thinking about rendering the story. And that's why Buscema's work is so beautiful, because he captures that heroic, obviously well built individuals that are obviously super. But at the same time, he doesn't go over the top. He makes it. I mean, and look at that wonderful panel there where that guy's doing the thinker pose.
Yeah.
Is that Jarvis?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, why Jarvis has got such an incredibly strong forearm, I'm not quite sure, but
that's because he works out.
He works out.
Pushing a broom builds.
Look at that body.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
PBR waving.
It's just you're right. They all had their own styles and their own approaches, and it made as well. You also had people that would do long runs on books.
Yeah.
So that you could associate that artist with the book and really sort of get into it.
Do you know? It just shows you how this kind of but I think it's a problem. I think not a problem. I think it's sad. The same kind of thing washes over the culture, because back in these days, and we can do this, and a lot of people probably can't these days. I don't know. We can identify even down to the inker, who's working on it. Yeah, and it's the same with football or soccer. Mm-hmm. We used to have Maradona and Pele and people like that, Bobby Charlton. But
people
now
stood out.
Yeah, but now they're all the same.
Yeah,
they play the same. They do the same thing. There's no flair. There's no difference in there.
Individuality.
The odd one will come through, as always will. As the same with the artist. But now I don't look at this new stuff. I just look at this because this is beautiful. You know, the new stuff's just so boring, basically.
Sterile and too realistic.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, and then like I've just had a piece come up here, which is a beautiful piece. I'm not going to show it, but it kind of looks very sort of. Oh, who is the guy? Finch. That's it. It looks like
David
somebody's
Finch,
been studying David Finch
Mhm.
and wants to be David Finch, and I understand that because some of us wanted to be John Buscema or Jim Lee or whatever, but you've got to go beyond that, and find yourself.
Yeah,
and I've just had another piece come up from Hulk, which is Nick Klein, and I absolutely love it. It's got shades of Wrightson in it, but it's definitely a unique style. It's obviously him. Nick Klein's great.
You have to realize. I mean, we all do the copying of our favorite artists, or even our favorite footballers. When you're playing, but you soon have to realize that you're not that person, and it doesn't matter what kind of a pencil he uses. It's all to do with your arm and not his.
Yeah, it takes a while to do that.
Yeah.
It takes a while to be adult enough, if you like, to not be so naive and start believing in yourself. That's difficult. Always difficult for an artist to believe in themselves.
Mhm.
But also, like you say, to let yourself come through. The best work you're ever going to do is because you're not trying to copy someone else and you're not trying to chase someone else.
Yeah.
Because you're then free to do the best you can do.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'm always saying to her, is this lettering okay that I'm doing? And she said it's brilliant. And I keep saying it's not Artie Simek. And she says, well, it won't be, will it?
It'll be you.
So
it won't be. It's you.
I've done it with the artwork bit, but I'm trying to get it through with the lettering now.
I've found that easy. I just don't do lettering.
But having said that, even though I'm nearly out that little tunnel of accepting my own lettering, it's still not as good as this. This is Sam Rosner. Artie Simek and Sam Rosner are sort of twins, aren't they? They're difficult to tell apart. But anyway, back to John Buscema. Not got mentioned yet.
Also, stuff that you study as well, because obviously these guys were doing it at such a rate.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that my OCD would not have allowed me to put that bridge at a different angle to the walls of the castle. I know it wouldn't have. But John Buscema just went, fuck this shit.
Yeah, but you'd
I'm
do
just
right.
Doing this and I'm on to the next page, mate.
What castle? Yeah, that was an hour ago.
That was an hour ago. I'm doing something else now.
Oh, we've got some great inking by George Klein as well. You should check out his work on Thor. I think it was the Galactus when Thor went looking for Galactus. Is it 159 or something? The inking on that is superb. That's George Klein. He didn't do a lot of the Marvel age of this time, but he should have done. But
anybody coming in after Vinny is an excellent inker anyway.
I was going to say, but then again, he died, so he couldn't do a lot, could he? Because he died when he was about 49 or something.
If you're following Vinny, it's not a high bench.
No,
but Vinny does some fantastic stuff on Tales of Asgard. Have you noticed that? If you look at Tales of Asgard, it's brilliant most of the time. But I just wonder if it's easy for him to get his head around a 5-pager rather than a 20-pager. So he gives it three other people. You know what I mean?
He might have had an extra day to work on it too. So
yeah. But anyway, just put this away, Randy. It's just too good to talk about.
It's just
really on page
bloody
3.
good, isn't it?
Look at that. Look at that, throwing him onto the top of the. How good is that? At that last panel, he's throwing on top of the battlements.
Doing the old alley oop.
Yeah, fantastic. He could have just run up there actually, but he just thought with. He's been a bit lazy that day.
It'd be more fun to be tossed.
Yeah.
All right, leave it.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Again, a great sort of silhouette going on there.
Oh, we spoke too soon. Vinny came back at panel 3.
Yeah.
But look at the solid blacks in Panther's costume. It's great.
Yeah. Fantastic.
it's really different. You look at things for inspiration. So, for instance, that Conan comic I had with Pablo Marcos doing the ink in there, and that is really the way that he approaches that. I just love that particular story. I love the whole thing about the artwork in there. And then you look at this, or you look at maybe Buscema being inked by Sinnott, and it's so difficult. You love it all, but they're so different, and you that's why it's so important to find yourself, because otherwise you're thinking, oh, maybe I should try and ink like that, or maybe I should try and draw like that, and it's like no, just do your thing.
You've also got to look at the mood of a book as well, haven't you?
Yes. I mean, for instance, this being a superhero book, it lends itself to thicker lines, bolder, brasher inking than, say, a Conan book, which is sword and sorcery and is looking for, a bit of grunge.
Yeah. Sad says, I agree. On the rare occasions I'm in a comic shop, nothing pops out at me. I dare anyone seeing a Silver Age cover not want to pick that off the rack. As for Buscema, he's still my favorite.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
BBR says, the way Bushmills improves coffee in every way. You good gentlemen do realize this is an ungodly hour to be up doing this. Pours a bit more Budmills in the cup. Yeah. That's why we're comics by night, PBR. Yeah, PBR. I started this show because the wife goes to work. She's got to be there at 4:30. So I'm up at 4.
What happens when she retires?
She's already retired. She's still working.
Oh, okay.
She still went to work this morning.
She still went to work.
The person that replaced her has the week off, so she has to watch. She's sitting there watching how much money she's making because she can only make so much
fair
money
enough.
per year without losing her pension, so her Social Security. So yeah.
Oh well, we're effectively the bums of comic book YouTube.
We're just the early risers, PBR. We know the majority of the artists watch us later, or the majority of the people watch our show after we've already done it. So, but we appreciate you being here and adding to the chat very much so. Hit that like button. We got a good audience this morning. Great audience, in fact. Thank you, everybody, for watching us live. Hit that like button, please. Subscribe to whatever platform you're watching us on. Any kind of interaction goes to help our algorithms and get under more people's recommended lists. So please do. And it's free. So
one of the best things I find about Buscema, I think we mentioned this before, is that he approaches every panel differently. He makes it exciting and different. And even the one on page 2 there at the top, where it's just a front on, is exciting and dynamic.
Look at the way they're standing and everything. Everything he does.
See that cap bottom left side view? That looks like a John Romita.
That's a bit, doesn't it?
That ear and that.
I love the effect, the inking effect on the bottom right hand panel.
Yeah.
He's taking it out there.
Yeah.
He's doing it all in thin lines.
Yeah.
4 figures before her do not hear her next words, for after first touch of the dials, they are instantaneously hurled long, silent years away.
It's almost like that's what all the pages look like before they put the blacks in.
Yeah.
Zemo. Oh no.
There's some more being pulled.
Zemo.
Time.
Wow.
The man whose mask is permanently glued to his face.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is he another Nazi, Zemo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zemo's a Nazi, isn't he?
Way back when they were playing with adhesives and he had discovered a super adhesive, and Captain America comes in and it ends up spilling the adhesive over his face as a curtain come down on him. So now he's got a mask permanently glued to his head.
That's not the real story. The real story is he was trying to impress his mother. She said, "You'll never do it." He said, "Watch this." So he stuck it on his head.
If
That's why he's
you
got the little crown on there. Yeah,
be careful, your face will stay like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
and she said, "Now you dolt, you won't be able to lose yourself in the crowd that you wanted
You
to do at the end of
dolt.
the war."
You dolt. What a great word that was.
Yeah, you dolt.
Don't hear that used much very often, do you?
You're doing our house.
Just by Homer Simpson. Oh, anyway.
You dolt.
That's why Martin Bowman said to this guy, keep away. I'm going down the street now. I'm pretending to be a corporal."
Look at these wonderful, this 4-panel layouts as well.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This has got Kirby
Stretching out. Look at that.
Yeah.
essence of Kirby in it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
What's
at
that? It's that dynamics. Kirby
Yeah.
literally created this whole series of superhero dynamics that
Yeah, and it's
the
no
characters or the other artists picked up on. Yeah.
It's no coincidence that Buscema kicked off with Shield with layouts by Kirby.
No, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he was told to draw like Kirby, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then he didn't.
Well,
but what he did was he kept the dynamics. Well, that's what
Right.
he did. He kept the energy that Kirby instilled in his work.
He understood the assignment.
Mm.
Look at that lovely letter in there, Spakak. That panel, just lovely.
And also, look at that top left-hand panel. Look at the left-hand panel, left there. Look at the anatomy and the body language, the way that he's leaning back on the floor and pointing up. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's just like, an artist seeing that, and maybe other people just don't see it or just take it for granted. But just the way that he just effortlessly put people in positions and themes is just incredible.
It's the weight, like you say, it's the weight, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can see it. Fantastic. Is this Roy Thomas again?
Yeah.
Right.
Roy's doing all the writing at this point.
Yeah.
Avengers, at least.
Wow. Look at how many times has that been done there? Look at that, tying him to a rocket.
Yeah. That's very World War II-ish.
Yeah.
Especially for comics.
Fantastic. And then on comes the gorgeous girl. Is that the Wasp?
Yeah, it's the Wasp. I think she's controlling the time device, but she's falling asleep. What's wrong with me? Can't fight off this sudden feeling of drowsiness. Yet I must. The next moment, almost without prior warning, the lovely Wasp is overcome by the dregs of sleep as her hand drops on a certain fateful button. Not the button.
Do not press this button.
David's in the house. Good morning, David. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you very much being here.
Wow, look at that. Something else we've mentioned before as well is the excellent placement of the word balloons as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all got, people think these things are just thrown together, but they take a lot of the experience and working out to do, and that's just doesn't spoil the composition at all, that top panel, does it, with all that word in it, because it's placed properly.
Everyone's an artist here, and they all know their jobs. Yeah. Right down to the sound effects. Everything's a piece of art here.
Yeah.
It's fantastic work.
there needs to be a museum somewhere that's, or maybe a world tour where we can all go and see these page after page of this artwork rather than just single pages, the whole story along the wall, like at the Guggenheim or something like that, just leave it all in there.
PBR says, remind me to ask you a question before the end of the show, please. All right, PBR. Fatouche.
Yeah, Fatouche.
It's just great. I mean, this is high point for superheroes right here.
Yeah.
Everything's working. Everything's running on all. And you don't see that very often. And when you do, that's the best of comics. This run of Avengers, the first 50 Titans, the Byrne Austin X-Men, just classic stuff where everybody's on point and they're all doing their best work.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're seeing here.
That last caption there is true. I always said you were even better than the Panther, Cap. I always thought that.
Okay, so that isn't quite time enough. Bow stringer. You can always give a certain red, white, and blue buddy of yours a crack at him. Yeah.
There's so much going on in the panels, isn't there?
Yeah, a whole lot.
It's fantastic. He's even got a Jeep in that one.
And if there isn't a background on a panel, it's because it's already crowded. We don't need one.
You don't need backgrounds
Yeah.
all the time. You just need them to place someone in the position they need to be.
And to think that John Buscema didn't like drawing superheroes.
I know.
And he does it better than just about anybody else.
Just about anybody else, yeah.
But
then look at him drawing something that he wants to draw, like Conan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just. I mean, I did manage to go down to the auction room and flick through those other books that I missed out on. They were all from like issue 100 onwards towards the end of the run, so they're well over 100 books.
Wow.
But there was a lot of it that wasn't John Buscema. Most of it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, you're talking Savage Swords, right?
Yeah, right at the end, yeah. And to be honest, you could tell, like it wasn't just, oh, this isn't John Buscema, but the Incas have picked it up. The Incas over the top of him were great, but they weren't anywhere near him as far as penciling was concerned.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them took over as pencilers, and they did a pretty good job, but it wasn't John Buscema standard by anywhere near John Buscema standard.
Did Gil Kane do a few of those?
Gil Kane did some, yeah, and Gil Kane did them in his particularly Gil Kane way. He made it his own. Whereas a lot of the Incas, as brilliant as they are, tried to draw like John Buscema.
Yeah.
And then ink over the top, and of course it doesn't work because they're not him.
They might have been told to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not suggesting it's their fault or anything. I'm just saying it's just they're not him.
And they get frustrated if that's the case, that they were told to do it. Like, I think how frustrated they were.
It would be very frustrating for them. Yeah, very frustrating.
Yeah, it might even be that if you wanted so much to be on that title that you thought, no, I can't do this way.
Yeah, I can't remember which stories they are, but I've seen stories where Buscema wasn't penciling and some of the other Incas are on, and I've actually seen swipes from previous issues where they've used a Buscema panel, but then, inked it themselves, whatever. So
you can tell this has been inked with a brush, can't you?
Yeah.
Except maybe for the fine detail on the eyes and things, but the main body is brush. Which tells you again, shows you how good these people are.
I just the thing I love about superhero comics from this era is the inking. It's like it's so bold, you know. Even even some of the finer inkers, there was always like often there was a big bold line around things, and not in the way like some of the modern artists, maybe a little bit sort of like Frank Cho. They'll do something like sort of because he does very open work, and then some of the other artists do similar stuff to him, but they'll put a thick line around the outside of a person.
Yeah,
you know that kind of. And I'm not actually too much of a fan of that. Whereas the thick lines they used back in the 70s and 80s is because they increased the pressure on the brush,
right,
and had this sweep. And it had a dynamism to it that I was watching an artist draw. He was drawing Superman, and he coloured it in with it must have been inks, and it was a fine piece of work. It was really, really nicely done. He did all the black ink with a fine liner pen, and then when it came to the thicker lines, he simply took the fine liner pen and made thicker lines.
right.
And for me, it takes away the energy. I think brushes create sort of energy in your work.
Yep.
So
very much so.
I think it's because they're freer.
Yes.
It's like I think with the computer artwork, it loses a lot of energy as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of I think Mike Deodato. He does a lot of digital work now.
Yeah.
And some of his work is absolutely spectacular. But after doing a lot of digital work myself, I'm kind of with you on that. I think a lot of digital work, kind of digital inking, that is, kind of loses a bit of energy for me.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to lose that soul.
Yeah.
Very easy. Yeah.
and
Especially if you get so engrossed in the production of something, you can lose the soul of the work or lose some of it.
You see, this is one of the reasons why I'm glad I can letter. Because I've done computer lettering, and it's really easy and convenient, but it's just got no soul, and every letter's perfect. If you go into any of those bubbles there, I'll guarantee, even if you've got two E's next to each other, they won't be the same.
Right.
Oh no, of course, no.
And that's because they're all hand drawn, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
And I just think it's
lettered. Yeah.
It gives it does give it life, no doubt about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the great things we covered on Watchmen. When was it? It must be a couple of years ago now. We did Watchmen.
Yeah.
Was the fact that not only did Dave Gibbons pencil and ink the series, he lettered it as well.
Yeah.
So it not only gives him another paycheck, and it makes all the art simply his, doesn't it? Everything on these is his artwork, but his lettering style is so good. I mean, that's why he got the job. If he couldn't have done it, they wouldn't have let him do it. But what a great skill to have.
Yeah. You see paychecks, eh?
Yeah.
That's why, unfortunately, I'm doing lettering digitally because of the lack of paychecks.
Another reason would save postage with Dave Gibbons. He wouldn't have to send the artwork over the Atlantic and get it back to ink.
Look at that page. Look at it.
Next, we're looking at Avengers 59. It's the introduction of Yellow Jacket.
This Yellow Jacket is hyper-extended leg.
Yeah.
Which is really weirdly shaped.
Is this from the late 60s?
Yeah.
It's got to be, isn't it? And it's just it doesn't matter that his shape that's weirdly shaped or that his body is slightly cocked. That's the whole point. Is Buscema used to stretch people and do all kinds of things with the anatomy and make it so
it looks cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It looks so cool. Yeah.
What he was doing, because this was his first part of his first work, he knew Kirby was leaving, so he was getting ready by showing Stanley he could draw Mr. Fantastic with that guy that was yellow.
But look at the way his legs are stretched apart on the cover there. That's just beautiful. It's like, that's hard to do. He's nearly doing a splits there. And all that is just I've got my foot on the top of this guy.
Yeah.
A lovely face as well from the average Joe with on the top three there. Or I don't know whether he's a average Joe looking. He's obviously a criminal, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the hat and everything. I still think that something that made these comics, there was something extra about them, is the fact that they were all done in the 60s and the 70s, and the way that Americana was, the way that the fashions were, and it just made everybody really interesting.
Plus,
and I think fashions now, putting everybody in hoodies and what have you, just it's average people in comics don't look anywhere near as interesting as they used to look.
Yeah, that's very true. So again, this all adds to the fantasy aspect of the comics. They weren't trying to be realistic here. They were trying to get their point across with an artistic style and a story that they could make money on that entertained the reader.
Yeah, that was it. They just did their thing.
That was it. Yeah.
And again, great inking by George Klein on this.
Oh yeah, gorgeous. Yeah.
Great artist.
Martha's in the house.
Hey, Martha's.
Hi, y'all. We're all doing good. Glad you're here. I'm 100% with what y'all are saying about the digital losing personality. Yep. And as AI creeps in, you could see that soul just being sucked right out of it. I mean,
it's important not to be too hard on the whole digital aspect, because I've done a lot of digital work myself, and I would say it still had my personality in it. But I would say that the inks, although being very tight, the ink work that I did lost energy. And as much as I thought the work was good, now I look at my work and I see it much rougher. It's much more untidy, and yet it's got that much more life in it.
Yeah.
But that's just a personal opinion.
I remember listening to, if you listen to the Beatles track "In My Life," right at the end when the song finishes and Lennon's playing his rhythm guitar on it, and if you listen right to the very, very, very end, you'll hear him lift his fingers off the strings. And I just wonder, I've not heard a remastered one, but I would just wonder if they take it off now.
The thing is nowadays with music that you wouldn't hear them do that.
Yeah,
they would edit that out because
of
and that's what I'm talking about when I see my own personal journey. But I think it does happen with other artists, is how you have this OCD about trying to get everything right, and you have this. If you're inspired by previous artists, especially as a child, you view their work as if it's perfect, and it isn't perfect. And that's why it's so wonderful. That's why it's so engaging. It's because it isn't perfect. It's personal. And you have this, you go through your art life as if I must get this perfect. I must have these lines right. I must get this anatomy absolutely perfect. And it's true that you do have to learn all the rule sets in order to make it work. But once you're there, you need to adapt it to yourself. You need to let yourself shine through. You need to let your own style be there so that people can see that on the page, and the energy will come from that. And it's really difficult as an artist, because you're always looking for perfection, really, but you don't know what perfection is. Yeah. And it's really hard to strike that balance. And sometimes you've just got to lay a line down and just get on with it and move to the next one.
It's like that with almost every form of entertainment right now, especially because everything's gotten to be so digital.
Exactly.
One of my favorite channels on there on YouTube is Professor of Rock, and he has some great stories about guys sitting in the studio just accidentally, riffing off of each other and running into the classic riff that just burns into the song. They never would have got that if they hadn't been collaborating.
I mean, the music industry now is it's a shadow of itself. Everything's incredibly corporate. You've got a lot of people that are trying to do the indie route through, but you won't necessarily hear them played on a radio or a channel or whatever. A lot of those people are they're making their money out of going and doing live gigs.
Well, but
the distribution network isn't there anymore in the way that it used to be.
Well, the big thing in music now is there aren't any bands.
No, there's no bands.
It's all
the way they used
individuals.
to be. Yeah,
and it's all guys sitting in studios or sitting in their living room with a repeater. And sitting there and doing the same rhythm over and over again.
I'm going to say the old man thing. It all sounds the same.
Yeah.
If you go on, if you go on YouTube, I find this fascinating. These are the ones I listen to. If you go on YouTube, you'll get David Bowie and Paul McCartney and people like that. I mean, obviously they're my favourites. You get the isolated vocal.
Oh right,
and you can hear how well they can sing, but you can also hear the odd mistake where they're a bit off a bit.
Yeah,
but when music's on it, it's not. The point is, it's not perfect.
No, it's real.
It's real. And these
authenticity is what people really want. It doesn't matter whether it's politics, acting, music, comic strip. People want authenticity, and sometimes they don't even know it because obviously there's no doubt that there will be AI slop sent out there, and the general public will go, "Oh yeah, this is good," and they'll consume it. But at some point, they'll get disillusioned with it because it won't be authentic, it won't be human, it won't be real.
Prime example of that's Oliver Anthony, who just walked in out of nowhere, took a couple of videos in his backyard, and made millions off of it.
Yeah,
just off of doing old style, one guy writing one guitar and with his dogs and just
there is some
old
really
style Appalachian folk music. Yeah,
there is some really good independent music on YouTube.
Oh, really good.
There really is some great stuff out there. Yeah.
There's a guy I can't remember. It's called Phil Fil, and he's a musician and he's a British guy. And he does he puts the live track next to the recording studio track where they can take as many takes as they want. And he had George Michael on doing a live track, and he had the studio version, and it was exactly the same.
Yeah, well,
so he's singing it live.
Yeah, it's funny because it's so easy to look back. When I was a kid, like Wham was not top of my list. I can assure you. But looking back now, they made such fantastic, great pop music. I'm not a lover of people who are music snobs. Music is for the masses. Music is for everybody, and it can be anything. It can be a wonderful piece of classical music. It can be a meaningful track, in the pop genre, but a meaningful track that has wonderful words to it, or it can just be a bop, set, just something silly. But he made brilliant music. He was an incredible talent, that bloke.
Yeah, his best work is when he left Wham. But if you mention Kate Bush to everybody, they always think of Wuthering Heights, which is probably the worst track she ever did.
Yeah, what a body of work she had.
If you want to hear how well that girl can sing, go onto her last album, 50 Words for Snow, and listen to Among Angels, and you tell me that girl can't sing.
Yeah,
right.
And it's nothing like screechy Wuthering Heights, which was done on purpose for the story.
Yeah. I mean, and to be perfectly honest with you, it ain't easy to have done that.
No.
You needed a voice to do that.
Of course, yeah. Getting back to this, look at that yellow jacket's leg on the middle panel.
Yeah.
It's like
nice and long, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like it's been drawn on, or he re-inked it the next day.
But look at that bottom panel though. Look how good that is. But all of it, he knows when to pop out.
Yeah.
He knows when to lose a panel border. He knows when to pop out. Look at those strike lines in the top left. Swag.
Fantastic.
Wonderful stuff. I mean, Sinnott was the best at those. Yeah. But they're pretty good, those ones.
Here
they're very Joe Sinnott-y, aren't they?
Yeah.
Going from thick to thin.
Yeah. I used to do that with a brush.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep.
It's hard.
Brush and a steady hand.
Yeah.
But the secret to that is to start thin and work thick.
Yeah.
Just to go out in one sweep. Just a whoop.
I'd do those the other way around. I'd use a ruler and a pen.
Yeah, I use a ruler. I've got several.
Go thick to thin.
I've got several pens that I use specifically for strike lines, and I do go thick to thin.
Yeah, I've got some really nice dip pens for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
I've
surprised.
been trying so hard to get on with dip pens, and I can't.
Wouldn't be surprised if all those lines were done freehand without a ruler.
They are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're a bit wobbly, but they're lovely.
They get the job done. That's what it is.
Yeah, I love that last panel with the guy on the phone. That's great.
Yeah.
Police call box. So police call box. I see.
And it is. It's two panels here. No. It's just that he's holding his nightstick and it's violating this other.
Yeah, it's like two panels.
He should be saying, "What'll I do with this baton?"
We keep bringing you the same jokes every week, guys, and you love it.
Look at the panels above. Is that Spock driving away?
It does look a bit Spockish, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's the same.
He's even got the jacket on.
Yeah.
You can see it blue, can't you?
Yeah. But again, the dynamics here of the composition, the angles used.
He shows you how, with that building and things, how important perspective is and how it's important to learn perspective and understand what it is and how you achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but having said that, the bridge wasn't right with the castle, was it? So don't listen to a word I say, folks.
Didn't have to, as long as it looked cool. That's the whole thing. Little J. Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man for a page.
He's just testing there for a later gig on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Did he draw Spider-Man, John Buscema?
Not very much.
He didn't actually do the book, did he?
Not that I remember. No. So it kind of went from Romita to Kane to I want to say Andrew. Andrew ran it for years, but it was before that. It jumped around a bit with after Kane and Romita come back for a little spot. I think Gwen Stacy's death was Romita. It was about 120. And then Andrew come on and was on it for years. I don't think he did a regular gig on Spider-Man.
I wonder if he was offered it at any point.
I don't know.
Mind you, he was drawing the FF then, so he wouldn't, would he?
I think it would have been a waste of his talents, to tell you the truth, because it's a whole different sense and almost like a whole different dynamic. You see the Spider-Man here, doesn't look bad, but it doesn't quite look like Spider-Man.
No, it's not good, is it?
It's like not Gil Kane, but Jack Kirby trying to draw it. Just can't quite, almost, but not. Can't get it.
I love the way Jonah's coming from under the blinds. He's obviously heard him outside. He's got the blinds closed and he's got his head. Yeah.
Or again here, no need to draw in the rest of the body. It's just a hand and a head. That's all you need. So that's all you get. It just adds to the dynamics.
Get off that flagpole.
Martha says, I think it has something to do with the line weight that you don't even think about doing it manually. But when it's digital, you have to keep adjusting the pixel size. Yeah. You can't get that. Well, you still get that kind of stroke on certain programs. Feldstein had some really thick lines in his work. Yeah. Not in a superhero kind of way, but in more of a tend to lend itself to inking kind of way. Yeah. I believe Struthless made a video about dark times inspiring great art. His example was the crash of 2008 inspiring ringtone rap. Okay.
It's true though about dark times. I mean, look at the Guernica thing by Picasso, and all that kind of stuff. So
everything runs in cycles.
Yeah. What we need is a good war to get a nice piece of artwork out of it.
Floating heads.
Look at that.
Fantastic floating heads, folks.
Imagine that on his drawing board, those 2 pages on his drawing board. Wow. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. T'Challa. It's great, isn't it? Like, thus speaks T'Challa, son of T'Chaka. I would be saying, thus speaks Glenn, son of Frank.
Yeah.
Doesn't work, does it?
Doesn't quite have the same ring. Still Black Widow still in her old costume here.
Got to love a floating head.
Always. That could be taken out of context.
Sorry, flip back. The floating heads.
Uh-huh.
Not one of them is face on.
Yeah.
No, they're all that.
Makes them interesting and moody.
Mm-hmm.
It's very not racist. That's the wrong word, but you'll know what I mean. When the woman says, "Goodness, it's that vision creature. He looks too awful to walk on the streets with us decent folk." We can understand what she's referring to. You know, in being not the same as her. You know what I mean? Not racist.
Right, back then.
She's been sort of racist, or maybe androidist, prejudice. Yeah, that's the word. Prejudice. She's been androidist.
Yeah.
Like that guy there below, he says, crummy androids trying to take over from real people. You ought to string them up by their own jump cables. You know what I mean? It's very...
it's very humanizing, actually.
Yeah, civil rights thing.
Right.
However,
that's
exactly what we think about AI right now.
Yeah.
I think the language in these things is brilliant. Is what makes it. Look at Nick Fury there. He says, "Dum dum, the Black Widow's getting an overdose of that new nerve gas." Oh, okay. Ooh, shit for brains, me. You know. Brilliant.
Wondering if I reached it in time.
See, you could have just had Nick Fury standing there saying that, but he's not. He's moving, isn't he?
Yeah.
Not
it
just
looks like he's having a little bit of a dance, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he says, "Hit that exhaust switch, mister, and hit it hard."
Yeah.
Hit her, and hit her hard. Yeah. Done, Nick. Now I'm wondering if I reached it in time.
He's turned into a British naval guy from the 17th century there. Hit her hard.
Yeah. That's the gruffness of Fury.
My heart is.
There's Jarvis tied up again.
He's getting in the way. This guy, he needs sacking, doesn't he, Jarvis?
Tied up, put on hooks, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Not more than a few issues later, he's tied up and stuck on a hook in the kitchen.
Great the way he's left the border off as well on that panel.
Yeah.
Gives it
and
more.
The shadow.
Yeah.
Keeps it open. Yeah. Yep. No Yellow Jacket playing with his gum. Jan, she's fainted under the strain of Hank's recent work, plus our visitor's cryptic words. And speaking of those words, let him clarify them before we force the truth from his lips. That's Vision talking. Still, I'll tell you what you want to know. Why you should beg me to join your little combo. Yak away, Charlie. It's been a while since I've heard a good fairy tale.
They're all wisecrackers, aren't they? They're all wise guys, all the smart asses, aren't they? For the stuff they say.
That's Thomas's writing, though.
Yeah, I think Lee was a bit like that as well.
Yeah.
That's where he learnt it from.
Martha says, always moving, always legs spread, Marvel away. Yep, always dynamics.
That's what kind of MCU ended up getting wrong. Because a lot of people would send a lot of criticism to the MCU films for being very wisecracky.
Yeah.
In my view, I didn't mind that. They were always going to be light. I didn't want a dark Marvel. I wanted it to be light. I wanted it to be fun.
Yep.
And okay, you can have, themes like you can't be anything but dark if you're Thanos and you want to take out half of everybody who's living. I mean, that's a pretty dark thing. Yeah. Okay. But the way that you construct the interplay between the characters and whatever, you can always be light. And obviously the most recent films have completely missed it, and I think that's because they have really bad writers, to be honest. Yeah. It's not that you shouldn't have levity in there, and this idea that you look into a film like that and say, oh, right, well, they were trying to investigate these kind of emotional aspects, but they just ruined it with a joke. It's like, in my personal opinion, I don't want those things being investigated. I just want a good, fun action movie. But even if they did, it's like, so what? It's supposed to be a film. It's supposed to be quite light. And that's what they did in these. They got that across. But like I say, in the first set of Marvel films, I think they did that really well. Mm-hmm. But the last set are just awful, and it's not necessarily because of the levity. It's because of the fact that the writing was just rubbish.
Yeah, I think
they've had a. Go ahead, Glenn.
I'm going to say, I think it's great the way that Thanos wants to destroy half of civilization, Doctor Doom wants to rule it, and Galactus just wants something to eat.
Yeah, just wants to eat it. Yeah.
Yep.
But they're all. I mean, no, you just pick those three bad guys out.
Yeah.
And they're just iconic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Truly iconic, and for different reasons.
And I love the way I think we mentioned this last week when you went on, Russ, maybe before that. The way that somebody like Doctor Doom, who wants to rule the world, he gets the Silver Surfer's power, and he could actually rule the galaxy if he wanted. But he still hasn't managed to have a punch up with Ben Grimm because he wants to chin him, So that's all he does. When he could just dissolve him,
Yeah. So he's desperate to slap him about.
Yeah. It's great. That's a real Steve Ditko top left-hand panel, isn't it? With the lines across the form.
So how did the two of them be in the same room at once? I thought they were the same person.
He is recounting how he took out
I see. It's a memory. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not even a real memory, but it's one that it's the story he's telling the other Avengers. Yeah.
I see. Right, okay.
So you can see where what's he called? The British artist got that hand from bottom right, Russ. What's he called? Who draws Alan Davis. It's a real Alan Davis fingers.
Can see a lot of that this work influencing him.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine him being influenced by this. Yeah.
He probably ate it up as a kid.
If you think about it, if he wasn't, he must be the only person who wasn't.
Yeah.
Look at that. Crack.
Got a copy of Davis's The Nail that we'll have to look at in the upcoming weeks. It's really good. Yeah. It's a DC Elseworlds book where he got to draw everybody.
Right.
So it's excellent stuff.
Yeah.
A little calf work right there.
Yeah, so odd that. Well, yeah, it's good.
I have a good calf.
So a little line work here. It looks gray on the camera. It's just all just thin line work for wood
Yeah.
Wood grain. Shrunk him into nothing.
Oh dear.
Here's where you do just that for good. Some sort of gas. I can already feel myself growing smaller. Nothing I can do to halt the process. Where will it stop? Where? Yeah.
He'll be on that. He'll be on that cobweb. Help me! Help me!
Yeah.
I always remember that when Vincent Price hears that voice and has that fantastic look on his face as he looks around and sees him, drops the brick on his head.
Getting eaten by a spider, no,
smashes him, yeah.
Smash him up.
Because he's really melodramatic, isn't he, Vincent Price? Really hams it up, doesn't he? But it's fantastic.
It was great.
Sheer horror is why he destroyed it.
Yeah.
He was so freaked out by the thing and just stomp it.
Burn it with fire.
Talking about the fly.
Oh, like, yeah, it did. Went down to spider size.
There we are.
Oh,
He's
no.
laughing.
Got to run. You'd never get away from that, would you? Oh, I was reading about stuff like that the other day. Apparently, they're thinking that before the dinosaurs were insects as big as the house.
Yeah, big insects.
Imagine that. I don't think we'd have a chance around that time, would we?
Insects were very large a long time ago, yeah. They had a lot of oxygen in the atmosphere.
Explains why everybody carried swords, right?
Yeah. the ox, because they breathe through they don't actually breathe through their mouths, they breathe through like their legs and the exoskeleton.
All right.
And so it supported the amount of blood flow. I think that gravity may have been slightly different as well. So
the prehistoric roaches must have been incredible.
Not gravity. Gravity's the same. Just the gravity of the Earth was slightly different as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a lot of it was down to the atmosphere and how big they could grow.
Which makes you wonder when we get knocked out by something, what will come after?
Crows.
Giant crows.
Giant crows. Those things are bloody really clever.
Yeah.
Well, they figured we got intelligent by eating a lot of mushrooms. So
there you go, PBR.
That's PBR story, and he's sticking to it.
Chug it. Chug it.
Here's a question for you. You know, they reckon this plastic stuff we use won't disappear for 250,000 years.
Uh-huh.
Really?
How do they know?
You do know that. You know, out in the sea, there's supposed to be that island of plastic. Apparently there is now an organism that's eating plastic.
Yeah, the bacteria.
You know, Titanic won't be there in 100 years, you know, because there's little EBGBs down there eating it.
They just eat it.
Eating the steel.
Yeah.
Yep. EBGBs, I like that.
Yeah, EBGBs.
It's a technical term.
Yeah.
Well, even now that there's up in the upper part of the Upper Peninsula, they have a shipwreck tour where you can see all of these boats that have been sunk into Lake Superior, and really it's all just fossilized timber, pretty much. That's all that's left because of the water, and it's even a freshwater lake, so there's not that many. You know, there's not as bad a bacteria or edible creatures as what you'd get in the ocean in the salt water. But it's still wearing down to nothing.
Well, what the Earth does, it makes something to sort it out, doesn't it? If there's all these little things that are in the garden are food for the bigger things.
Yeah.
So if the people forget that plastic comes from the Earth, everything we have comes from Earth. So whatever we make, it's bound to break down sometime. So and if it doesn't break down immediately, the Earth will work it out, and the Earth won't let us destroy the planet.
Right.
Unless we drop a nuclear bomb, which
that's Mars.
All that will do will just destroy everything. It'll just start again like it did when the asteroid killed the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was black for 1 million years, and everything above sort of 2 feet high died, and all the other stuff just rummaged around in the dark. Because isn't it interesting when you go down to the Titanic, the fish down there, when you see them, they can't see anything. It's pitch black, but they're horrible. They're nasty looking things. Why are they not nice looking? You know what I mean?
Because nobody can see them. They don't need to be nice looking.
There you go.
Yep. No, that's nobody has to see them. But what makes it do them ugly rather than just be nice? Doesn't matter whether they can see them or not.
Our perception of beauty is completely different from
yeah, of course,
what might be nature. Yeah. It's doing a neat Tarzan beating his chest. Why not?
Look at that last panel there where he's grabbed hold of her arm. The angle of it and everything.
At what?
The angle of it. It's just fantastic. The last panel, the very last panel where he's grabbing her arm. No, the very last panel.
Yeah.
The angle is just outstanding the way.
It's so dramatic.
And even the one to the left of it is on an angle tipped.
Right.
Even though it's full on, you know.
Tipped into it.
And the shadow across her face as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just superb. Oh, look at that. Wow. That's amazing.
100 no's and a yes means yes.
Yes, it's when she realizes who he is.
Right. Because the way he snugs her.
Sorry, doll. Don't know what came over me. Just need you as hostage. Oh, don't need you as hostage anymore. You may as well let you go. Yes, of course, he says. But somehow,
I don't want him to.
I don't want him to.
Swoon.
Oh no!
Look at that second page, right? How quiet it is. Then the cockpit of that spaceship thing. Then you see the spaceship. Then they're coming out of the dome. Bam! There's the
Bam.
And the bumper.
Out comes.
Yeah.
Out he comes. Roar!
T'Challa's gonna take care of him. No.
I like this. Why in Blue Blazers? Blue Blazers was only ever in comics. Nobody ever said that.
What in Blue Blazes? Oh, look at that.
Pretty sure
I'm
it
going
was
to marry him. One
superhero at
kiss,
one
and
time.
she's going to marry him. That's like.
Yep, that's right.
How
I'm gonna
easy
marry
is
him.
that, lads?
What's that hot chocolate song? It started with a kiss. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh look, this covers by Alan Ross by Russ Leach. It's got a serpent on it.
with floating heads. Yeah.
Floating heads.
Floating head. Are you going to do a floating head cover?
No.
No.
We'll work our way
no.
to it eventually.
I think you should.
No.
I
I'm
think
not
you should.
doing a floating head
I
cover.
think you should pay total homage to Mr. Buscema.
I don't think floating head covers work well when you've got somebody doing painting over the top of it. I just don't think it works.
Well, you
Just
have to do it.
fade him into the background. Yeah, they're like the big bad guy looking over the hero and laughing.
Oh, that's not a floating head, though, is it?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's not quite the same thing. Floating heads are.
When's the last time you saw a floating head on a cover in comics? You know?
When's the last time you saw a serpent? Oh, the last one.
That's a device that is long gone.
Sorely
like
lacking.
Thought balloons. Yeah, sorely
Yeah.
lacking. It's like a thought balloon. You don't see those in modern comics either. Because nobody needs to think, I guess.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh,
Let's
look
flip
at that.
Flip over to number 61. Some say the world will end in fire. Fire.
Oh. Look at the way the Vision is standing. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just spectacular. And again, his shoulder that's not right, but it doesn't matter.
No,
Look at the way he's left the wings open on the horse on the right hand side.
Yeah,
they're going, yeah.
Yeah, he's like gliding in.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
And the water.
This is during that time when they didn't want to draw Stephen Strange's face, so they just put a hood over, put a mask on him, make him a superhero.
Is that an ice giant or something they're fighting there? It's like an ice giant, isn't it?
Martha says, bring back thought bubbles first, and then we can bring back floating heads. Yeah.
We have thought bubbles.
First, they came for our floating heads. Then they came for our thought bubbles.
We have thought bubbles in our comics.
Comics are stagnant. Some saying ice.
Oh.
A little bit of Wallywood tribute here.
Yeah. That one tall picture of solar energy coming up, bang, right in his face.
Now, who's inking this? Is this
It's George Klein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Look at those. Look at the hair on the top of that monster there on that first page.
Here?
No, the first page. All the hair on the top of his arm.
Oh, yeah.
The lighting.
Yeah.
It's just
that looks
gorgeous.
like
it is.
Ulick out of Kirby's
yeah, a little bit, yeah. It's just beautifully done, that.
Yeah.
Do you know, speaking of Ulick, when he made his first appearance in Thor in 1967, you get things stuck in your mind of your life. I can remember exactly where I was when I first read that comic. I was in the laundrette with my mum. And she was doing the washing. I'm reading this comic. It's just brilliant.
There's a whole Ulick thing with Thor was later on. I think it was. I don't know if it was. I think it was inked by Sinnott. I think it was Buscema and Sinnott. It just the vision, the visuals in it were just brilliant. It just stays with you. Do you know what I mean? It's just so good. It is Americana comic books. That's what
I always thought that Ulick was Blastar's brother, and then Calibac in New Gods. It's the same guy, isn't it?
Yeah. Ulick, I'll use a spoon.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Don't bump. Wait a minute. There we go.
Ding. Some lovely spot blacks on here.
Yeah. Since when did Doctor Strange wear a mask?
Doctor Strange is the in-betweener.
He had it for a short period of time. A mask.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
I don't remember that. I missed that one.
Yeah, it's blue. They had a blue cowl.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just like, there was a period there for about a year, maybe a year and a half. Iron Man had a nose.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
But I've
the same
never
thing here
seen
with Doctor Strange. They tried to superhero him up and put a mask on him.
Never seen that. There's something I didn't know.
That's a whole era of Doctor Strange like that. Gene Colan was the majority.
Learned something new today.
On the majority of that, yeah.
Wow.
Look at the way his astral projection is coming back into his body on the far right there, top right.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. Hardly any detail in it.
Other side.
On the right.
Here, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yep. It's dropping in. That panel. It's a great panel. 2 characters.
Something weird going on with the size in there. On the bottom panel.
Yeah, what's the bloody horse doing in the spaceship? You know, spaceship.
Bloody arse.
Dumping everywhere. And
Valkyrie, will you please clean up after that bloody horse?
Yeah.
Kick up the horse.
PBR's just said, any more of this whiskey in my coffee and I'll be a floating head.
Yeah. This is while Black Knight still had Aragorn before he gave it to Valkyrie. She ended up taking it.
Oh right, this is Black Knights, is it?
Yeah,
I haven't seen Black Knight so far.
yeah.
Wasn't in the last story, was he? I didn't see him anywhere.
No, he comes in, I think, after. Well,
No, I just see him. I mean, yeah, he's riding the and he's riding the horse there. Yeah.
Yeah, Aragorn. Yeah, I think it was Aragorn. What's the name of the horse? Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm sure the chat will let me know. But there he is.
I tell you, like, Doctor Strange is freaking me out.
There he is.
I bet Steve Ditko saw that and despaired.
Yeah, it's not right. So
they didn't keep it for very long. It was like the cowl on Black Panther. Yeah,
he's got a tight costume on as well.
Yeah.
It's like there's no fluffy shirt or anything. Just weird.
Nope. Everybody started complaining, so they went back to the original concept art or the original look for him, real quick. Didn't last. I would say a year, maybe 2 years.
Right.
They were trying to get his comic to sell, and they were, throwing anything at the wall to try to get it to stick.
Learned something new today.
Putting his mask on him didn't quite make it. Another 4 panels here, 4-panel grid.
Do you know, I've often wondered if, Stan Lee became editor at this point and Roy Thomas was doing most of the books, if not all, like Stan did. I often wonder, if you look on that left page with the head, where it's just his head talking, and we used to get a lot of the blocks like saying detailed in Doctor Strange 178 now and sales Stan. I just wonder if Roy Thomas wrote that and just put Stan on the end of it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Stan Lee never saw this. He never saw this.
I don't know. I think Stan was kind of working as overseer at this point. It's just that his workload got to be too heavy because they were kicking out so many books that he had to bring another writer on. And Roy Thomas was this snotty-nosed kid that was a big Marvel fanatic and knew the characters almost better than Stan did. Stan says, "Hey, kid, why don't you just script this for me?" And kind of went from there. So that's how he got that gig, and then he became editor-in-chief after a few years. And then they passed the editor-in-chief job around like a hot potato. A lot of people handled it. Some of them only took it for a couple months because they couldn't handle the pressure.
Yeah.
Until Shooter come in for a few years.
Yeah, he came in and sorted it out, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, things were slipping, weren't they? That's why Shooter was good when he came in, really. I know he trod on a lot of toes, but he sorted it out, didn't he?
He turned the company around pretty hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Weren't they having problems with deadlines because people were just being a bit lax with it and everything? He really buckled down it. So
bloody creatives.
Yeah.
Yeah. That he started keeping fill-in issues on file because he couldn't trust anybody to keep a deadline. And at this point, too, the printers were still fining very heavily if you didn't meet your deadline.
Yeah.
So you had to have something to go on that press, or you were fined almost the cost of an entire print run. They couldn't deal with that. So he ended up hiring a lot of guys that became real big, long-standing professionals. He hired them to come in and do fill-ins, like Bill Mantlo and a few of the artists that they hired in during that time. You always had to look inside the book before you bought it because you'd have a hot cover on it, and you'd open it up and realize it was a fill-in story, and you had to ask yourself, was there another book that I needed to buy that week over top of this one, because it's just a fill-in. So, and they couldn't do very many reprints.
Yeah.
They did that for a couple of a little bit, and then he ordered everybody to do have fill-in stories on file.
That happened in the 60s when Steranko was doing Cap.
Yeah,
Kirby had to come in for an issue because he was behind.
Right.
And I think he only did 3 or 4 Steranko, but Kirby wrote one of them in the middle of it because he was behind.
There you go. Have a quick look at this.
PBR says, "Any more of this whiskey in my coffee, and I'll be a floating head." There you are.
There you go. Look at that.
Yes, look at that.
That's what I was talking about. I mean, that's stuck in my head ever since I was a kid. That stuck in my head.
Wow.
It's just, and that's
Buscema, but who inked it?
Sinnott.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
No.
yep, you can see it. Yep.
Sinnott. And there's another one as well. At the time, who's the other inker? Everybody looks the same when he inks them.
Palmer.
Palmer.
Tom
That's it,
Palmer,
Tom Palmer.
yeah.
There was some Tom Palmer stuff as well. Just
Oh, look at that stuff.
There's
Yeah,
a whole
yeah,
bunch.
go back,
This
go
is
back. Yeah.
this is my Buscema library.
There you are.
Look at that.
That's classic stuff there. That
yeah.
was for a
I mean,
calendar.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Fantastic stuff. I mean,
The
again,
Overmind.
Sinnott.
Yeah.
Look at Sinnott's work there. How
Yeah.
clear and concise. But
Just
I was,
gorgeous.
But they put Sinnott on it to make it look like Kirby, didn't they?
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, just brilliant stuff.
It just left at that point.
Where is it? I mean, look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that was
Oh, God.
that was him inking
Crazy.
himself.
Super.
Buscema. That's a Buscema inking himself.
Yeah.
I never liked
Or
him.
not? Or no? Was that Sienkiewicz?
Sienkiewicz, yeah.
Sienkiewicz. That's it. There you go. That's from the issue I've just bought, and that was
Yeah.
Pablo Marcos.
Mhm.
Again, Sinnott. Look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, you can see that.
But yeah, the
Strong
two
line.
of them, I think, as inkers on Buscema, as far as superhero stuff was concerned, they were the best.
Yeah.
They were the best. But you know, this is pretty good. What we're looking at here.
Here's again.
I could do that one day. We could just flick through my Buscema library.
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah, I was looking at what Marv had bought in the that he was showing off in the chat. I was thinking about pulling a bunch of Gil Kane covers together and doing that, popping them up so that we can all, critique them and talk about them. Because there's some really good classic Gil Kane work.
Oh, Gil Kane's great. Yeah.
Especially on his cover material. It's just amazing. Very
He did a whole bunch of stuff on Spider-Man. It was great.
Yes. Yeah.
But who's the Ross Andrew?
Yeah.
I think he's undervalued. His work on Spider-Man was superb.
Yeah. Andrew, though, Andrew, I think the best Andrew out there was his Wonder Woman run, and I think he did that for like 10 years.
Right, I don't know that. I didn't read it, so.
And that's back. Well, hardly anybody did. That's back when Wonder Woman sales were really struggling, but it was very, very fantasy oriented. Brought in Wonder Girl and Wonder Tot, and they were doing all sorts of goofy, 50s style, almost Captain Marvel, Shazam Captain Marvel style stories. Back then, a lot of mythological stuff.
Who's the guy on Batman that everybody always thinks of?
Dick Sprang?
Famous names. No, 70s.
That's Adams.
No, Adams didn't do that much, did he? At the end,
Infantino, Gil Kane.
No,
did some Batman material during that time as well. You're thinking Aparo?
Aparo, that's it. Sorry, I'm crap at names, but Aparo. I mean, I see Aparo, Ross Andrew, Gil Kane. That I just don't. I don't think they're as necessarily appreciated as they should be.
No, and
they're not.
I love Aparo's work.
Yeah, Aparo's work is fantastic, and they're so you always hear Adams and Buscema and Kirby and Sinnott. You hear these names, but those guys were just as good in their own way, but they weren't. I don't think they've necessarily got the same press.
Well, they gave Aparo Brave and the Bold, and he did that for like 2 decades. Something Batman meeting some other character, and it's just amazing work. Just really crazy good stuff. And then he went over to Batman and the Outsiders after that and did some really nice material. But the thing with Aparo is he inked his own work.
Yeah.
Very rarely. I can't recall him not inking his own material. I mean, if anybody come in and inked his stuff, it was very rare for him to do it. And he's always done that ever since he started working in comics. He
Mm.
penciled and inked his own work. Some fantastic Phantoms out there with by Charlton that has his work in it. It's like that's where Byrne first got his start too, was in Charlton during that period, doing some crazy cartoony looking stuff. Just great material, fun to look at. More flying horses.
Look at that panel on the first page, the bottom panel with the horse. How good is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. It's Hawkeye standing on the back of the horse, shooting an arrow.
He likes drawing these Mephisto types of characters, Buscema, doesn't he? With fire.
I just thought the more modern Black Knight costume was pretty cool.
I don't know that one.
This one.
Oh, right. I've not seen these before.
It's a lot better than the tin can head of the medieval Black Knight.
Oh, yeah.
Tin can head.
What it reminded me of.
Dolt.
Hard solids here.
Dolt.
As you now learn, to your sorrow. Okay, where is he? Oh, he's falling. Oh, yeah, we'll go get him. Okay.
Wow. That Doctor Strange face there looks very Gene Colan.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
That'd be done on purpose because he was drawing this, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was primary artist on that title.
Love that top panel, though.
Yeah. Fantastic.
It's the Crystals of Conquest, which you can order if you
for $5.99 now
on AdamandEve.com, but you can't quite use them like that. So
look at this top right when he says, "Now I must cast my own unspoken spell of levitation, which I'm speaking about now."
Yes.
Don't mention the war.
The first rule of unspoken spells is don't talk about unspoken spells.
Yeah.
The writing is so good. It's so dramatic. It's like, if it floats in the air, I have achieved mastery over it. If it falls, perhaps a world falls with it. It's like,
so dramatic.
This is not
Look
the
at
hour for rejoicing.
Look at the vision there, bottom panel. All right, look how big his hand is. No, the backhand.
The backhand,
Look how big the backhand is. It's huge. And yet you just don't even notice. It's just, well, we're noticing because we're poring over it. But you don't even notice. Just perfect storytelling. Little bit of Kirby Crackle in there.
Yeah.
Love those rocks as well.
Yep.
Potent enough to reverse that spell before the very earth is laid waste by twin menaces of searing heat and blinding cold.
Look at that. Yeah. The picture above the head, the Gene Colan head, it's very Egyptian, isn't it? With those lines on the side. Like he's got one of those things that Tutankhamun wears, those hat things. With the head, just the head.
Yeah.
Very Egyptian.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that! Wow.
I believe this is the second part of a crossover story that started in Doctor Strange, too, which is why we're really removed from the continuity we were looking at before.
I tell you what, in that Doctor Strange magazine, I bet Gene Colan isn't drawing all the others like John Buscema does.
Yeah.
Mm.
Be interesting to see who inked that Doctor Strange episode then. Maybe Klein did that one as well. That'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, because it was pretty much Klein and Palmer, wasn't it? That was working with Colan.
It's funny, you look at something that I'm constantly aware of and trying to skill myself up with is this ability to draw with shadow, but not necessarily putting shadow on everything. Do you know what I mean? It's like John Buscema particularly did this well, is just creating clear figures with lighting, but not necessarily with the correct lighting.
Yeah, okay. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like there's always this lighting going on, and the only way that he could do it is by understanding light, because he's cheating all the time.
Yeah, you mean like on that top right panel, you should be able to, if the light's coming in from the top right, you on the other side, the other page, there would be a shadow on his body from that arm.
On his back, and he doesn't bother doing that. He just creates a clear image. And then puts black in the background and puts a shine around the image. And it's like, it's that constant, do I shade something up? Do I put the shadow on? Or do I just do the figure? You know, and try and build it within the background. And that's something I've become very acutely aware of in the last, especially when you're doing black and white.
Yeah.
If you're doing colour, it doesn't matter so much, because the colour can create a lot of the shade if you want it to.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't be drawing properly because you're drawing colour, of course not. But you can allow the colour to do its job. Whereas when you're drawing black and white, you can't really do that.
Right.
But these were probably made for colour, to be perfectly honest. But they still work so beautifully well in black and white.
Yep. They absolutely knew this was going to go in colour.
Yeah.
We said that before, that it still has to work in black and white.
Oh, it still has to work. Oh, God, yeah. I mean, you can. I don't think for 1 minute that John Buscema was sitting there going, "Oh, well, the colour will fill in my shadow."
No,
he wasn't thinking that. He was drawing the page. He was making sure that it worked. And when he cheated with the shadows, it was because it was cool, and because that made the image work better. It wasn't because he was thinking, "Oh, I can fill in the colorist can fill me in there." That wasn't what he was thinking, so I'm sure of it.
It's like that. I told you the other week, that Beatles song that, She Loves You, and they go, yeah, 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 yeah. And George Martin said, you can't end on that chord. And John Lennon said, why not? It sounds good.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that he doesn't do a shadow there, because it's not spoiling anything.
No, exactly. It's like, it's a comic book. It's cheating all the time.
Yep.
You're constantly cheating. It's the whole point of a comic book is it's a cheat. It's not reality. And so you're not looking to illustrate, you're looking to tell a story. Two different things.
Entertain. Yes.
If there was ever a cover that made me go bang my head on the wall, it's that one. It's just so good, isn't it? Look at it. It's like, oh, forget it.
More floating heads, by the way.
Time light floating heads.
Yeah, it's great.
Again,
they had,
the shadow on
floating heads in the corner all the time.
Period.
Yeah.
Has he got a jacket on, or is he got hairy arms?
He's got a furry
coat
costume on the top. Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually an albino bull ape that he took and skinned and then wore as a shirt. Yeah, as you do. Yeah.
So it's like that guy on that terrible science fiction film with Kirk Douglas in it, and I thought when that guy puts that guy's head on top of the robot.
Oh, Saturn 3?
Yeah, Saturn 3. Yeah, have you seen that?
Saturn 3. Oh, Farrah Fawcett. I love you.
Yeah,
That's a deep dig. That's what everybody remembers that movie for. Wasn't Farrah Fawcett nude in that film? Yes.
But they
Close.
cut. Have you seen the deleted
Close
scene
enough.
where she comes in with the gear on and he says, "What'll I do with his baton?" Oh, sorry, wrong movie.
Wrong movie. The Monarch and the Man Ape.
Look at that. Look, there you go. Straight away, it's like he's actually done the lighting there on
On the Panther.
Black Panther because of the fire.
Yeah.
But there's no lighting on anyone else.
No, there's a little bit here on the.
Yeah, no, but I mean, there's no serious lighting.
Oh no,
it's not an illustration.
Yeah,
it's just a little hint of lighting here and there, and then he's gone full on Panther.
It's because Panther's close to the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the way Artie Simex done the lettering going over the edge of the cliff.
Yeah. That, and he knew the colorist was going to color the character blue.
Yeah, but you say that, but
it works really well.
The thing is you can't. So, for instance, there's still a fire somewhere in the next panel, but they can't use the light source for it.
No,
you can't, because it's just too much. You can't chase things around like that. It's not an illustration.
Right.
It's a story, and that's what I find fascinating about so much of this work.
Also
had a day where he
brings
didn't
out
want to draw feet as well.
Also brings out the heat.
Yeah,
you get that light working, and to counter that, Hawkeye here is freezing his ass off.
Again, story.
It's not
story first.
Yeah. It's not good though that he's burning his arrows. Why didn't the knight burn his cloak? Do you know what I mean?
Why didn't the Vision use some heat ray or something?
Don't think about it too hard. It's only a comic book.
Exactly.
Yep. George Klein again, inking.
Yes. Lovely
work back here. Yeah.
Look at that. Oh, that's real Kirby, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Lots of Kirby in there.
Great Merlin.
Man Ape, that's the M'Baku character that was in Black Panther. Goes off and has his own little corner of Wakanda. The one that is kind of a Luddite, believes in the old ways. They'd call him Man Ape, but that would have been too racist. This is where that character came from. More zip work back here. Beautifully done. Look at that. Love it.
So that cross-hatching.
Where are we looking?
Center
middle panel.
Here?
Yeah.
That's zip, isn't it?
It's all line work, isn't it?
Looks like cross-hatch.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. That's all cross-hatching.
Yeah,
that was same thing back here. This is all line work.
That one isn't, though, is it?
Yeah. Here and here. That's all cross-hatching here. Really well done. I mean, I didn't notice it. I thought it was a zip screen.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
That'll be George Klein doing that, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fill it in.
Look, that panel on the second page, the third panel where the guy's holding that rod thing. Look at that arm. Look at the line work on that arm. That one, yeah. Look at that. How good is that?
It's so clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
And not overly detailed.
No.
Or overly shaded. It's just there. It just works.
Yep. Here too.
Yeah.
Lower part of the leg to give it some shape. Thicker line. Same here. Just a whoop.
Mbaku.
Just a quick swipe on the brush there, too. Probably without even thinking. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Because he's in a hurry. Yeah.
Wow. Mbaku. That picture there, the bottom where they're sitting around the table, is like an homage to Kirby's first issue he's in, isn't it? Where those people are dancing and stuff. You know, and is it issue 52, FF 52? Look at that. Meanwhile, everybody else is starving.
Yeah.
Not really good. There's some Baku guys. He's a bit. I think he'd know, wouldn't he?
It's you who forbade such regalia, Panther. Not M'Baku. Not he who is called the Man-Ape. Except for the movie.
Oh, was that Ben Grimm at the top?
Little stone idol working there.
Wow. Freedom.
You get the Man-Ape. Freedom. You dare speak of freedom? You who have sold yourself to our white-skinned enemies? Yeah. At this point, Panther didn't have his own series.
Wow.
So they, gave him a storyline.
Testing it out, you see.
Yeah. It'd be a few years before they put him in Jungle Action. And even then they did that because I don't think they wanted to stop the title, but they were when Jungle Action first started, they were reprinting a bunch of old white, really badly done Tarzan ripoff characters.
Yeah, then didn't Kirby come back and do the title?
He did eventually, but before that, McGregor and Billy Graham had a run.
Billy Graham.
That's the artist, not the evangelistic preacher. Just had the same name.
This should have had a character called the Evangelist in it, shouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, that's during the period they yelled at McGregor because he was doing these great Black Panther stories, and they said, you don't have enough white people in your stories. You need to put some white people in.
God.
So McGregor says, yeah, I can handle that. I'll do that. So the next storyline had the Panther versus the Klan.
Oh, very good. Very good. Got away with it, though.
And Penguin, the company, Penguin, has reprinted that run of Black Panther books in a beautiful hardback edition. It's really, really nice. I'm sure that's still available on Amazon, but if you want to read all of those stories in a line on a really well-bound format, that's the way to get it. Again, feathering here, running thin to thick to solid. Just beautiful work here. This is cross-hatching back here again, too.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Huh.
Taking the time.
We're getting late now.
Yeah. Yep. We'll stop it here. We're on page 14 already. There's only a couple more pages to go.
Doom.
Some great one-on-one fighting here. Some more just fantastic feathering. Look at that. Nice dynamics here.
Victory.
Strikes the base of the statue with his full infidel power. How long before it falls forward, crushes me to a pulp?
Crack.
It's a heck of a crack in it. Oops. Towards me.
Not squashed.
Yeah, he'll come back.
And so, faced with a world more complex, more subtle, he could only battle on until the end. Yeah, he'll be back. He's got a whole movie career ahead of him. There we go. Folks, we've been looking through the Essentials, Marvel Essential, Avengers Volume 3. Great artwork of John Buscema. Really glad you've been here. Tank Ferret in the house. Good morning, all. Good morning, Tank Ferret.
Tank.
How you doing, man? Like, share, absolutely. Please hit that like button up there. Well, I got to go. Good stream. Good luck with everything. Hit that like button on your way out. If you haven't subscribed to whatever platform you're watching on, hit that subscribe button too. Any type of engagement you have with this program just goes to help our algorithm and get out and under more noses. Wakanda forever and whatnot. Absolutely. PBR says, was going to ask you fine fellas were open to the idea if I sent you my copy of the Ethernaut, would you like to cover it with a promise of sending it back? You don't have to do that, PBR. I'm going to end up buying that book anyway. So once I do, we'll take a look at it for sure. I think Fantagraphics is reprinting the entire run on that, despite the lackluster attention that the Netflix series has gotten. What's the other channel name? We are archived over at Comic Book Black Belt YouTube channel, the Randy Zim, that's Zim with 2 M's, YouTube channel, and the Indie Comics Network, ICN, Indie Comics Network, that also holds a lot of other programs. Says, I want to subscribe. Just hit that subscription button. Being on YouTube, it's free. You don't have to pay us nothing. We're not monetized for this. So we do this because we love it. We're inspired by this artwork. There's the best of the best in sequential art. We learn from it. We're inspired by it, and we hope you are too. You know, there's so much great sequential art, comic book material out there that's been going on for 70 years or so now. Almost, I think the comic book just had its 100th anniversary, but the early works were really primitive and basically comic strips just hobbled together.
Yeah, I have to say our stream is painfully underviewed. Not because anyone should listen to our inane ramblings, although Ben and Randy do know a huge amount about the comic book industry, but simply just looking at the imagery that we put up here, we're putting up classic stuff. More people
Very
should
classic.
see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be one of those happy finds for a lot of folks out there. And there's a whole archive of this stuff. Holy crap! Yeah. So if there's anything out there you want us to cover, Ethernauts is definitely on our list. Anything else out there, make sure you leave a comment in the chat or whatever platform you're watching this on. We will see it and we will take it under advisement. So there's a lot of stuff we've looked at already that are in the archives, and there's so much more stuff that we have to look at. And we'll be doing this until we can't. So all the algorithm tickles everywhere. Yep, there you go. How you Tank PBR says. Tank says PBR. Back at him. Read, enjoy, remember.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Be entertained by this stuff. You don't have to enjoy modern corporate comics. You just go back and look at this classic material and know how great it was. You know, there's a reason why these sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of copies when they were out, even millions. We've looked at like Crime Does Not Pay that was selling 4 to 6 million copies every, I don't even think it was every month. I think it was every other week when that was coming out. Just phenomenal material, folks. Just so much great work out there. And you'd be surprised at how much of it is evergreen. You know, we might laugh at some of the goofy scripting by Lee and Thomas here, but it's all just adds to the classic feel of the material. Just great stuff. Tank says, I find it amazing that the old comics were so verbose without seeming too wordy. Oh, they were wordy. You'd get, you know, long ramblings every once in a while, but a lot of that is part of the fantasy, you know, the verboseness of it, the overacting. It's almost like a Shakespearean stage, you know, on a lot of this stuff. It's just adds to the quality of the work. Great stuff, folks. More stuff next week. We'll be back next Friday morning, 5 a.m., looking at some more material, probably Gil Kane covers, if I can get it coordinated enough to get enough samples together to really look at it well. And we'll see how that goes. If not, then we'll have some other great thing to look at. Russ, are you ready to tell folks where they can find you?
Yeah.
Russ, please tell folks.
Yeah, you can find me at russleach.com. Say, you know, subscribe to the YouTube channel over at Comic Book Black Belt. I'm at 949 at the moment, so I'm so close to 1,000. And make sure to go to russleach.com and sign up for the email list for the Atlantean magazine. Issue 3 is on its way. We've got some goodies coming out for the third campaign. Issue 1 and 2, they've just shown you, are available to buy. So if you don't want to wait for the campaign for issue 3, where everything will be available to get, then you can go buy them over at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Critical Blast, or good bookshops, online bookshops. So check that out. So go to russleach.com and sign up for the email list.
Any bookstore that has the Ingram ordering system, you can get our book through. So don't be afraid to have your local bookstore order it for you. Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
Like my mind, all over the place. If you go to Google and put my name in, you'll find lots of things, but mainly on Amazon. Got 12 books on there, science fiction books, JFK assassination, humor books, children's books, all kinds of good stuff. If you go to Fund My Comic, you can find me on there with Hatch. If you go to New Haven Publishing, you'll find me there with the Kirby book, and Amazon with that. So yeah, just all over the place. Just put my name in Google and you'll find lots of goodies.
All right. And folks, I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find my work on Russ Leach's Atlantean. Been writing that for a little while, or any of the Arrow comics that you might find out there. I've probably had a hand in one form or another. So be on the lookout for those. Deeply appreciate you being here. Look for Atlantean 3 campaign from Fund My Comic in the middle of July. I think July 18th is the
that's what I'm aiming for. Yeah,
that's what we're aiming for. Yep. And if we're not done far enough, it might be a week or two after that. But we don't want to solicit or start the campaign until we know we've got a good handle on having the entire book done, so that we can deliver it to you in a timely manner.
We always deliver.
If you get a chance and you need something to read, go over to Fund My Comic. Take a look at all the different projects that are over there. There's a wide variety of stuff. just waiting to be discovered. Fundmycomic.com. Go over there. Or take a couple hours out and go visit your local retailer and look at those boxes that not a whole lot of people look at. Maybe they're sitting on the floor or on the bottom shelf, or they're black and white magazines. You'd be amazed at the great gems that you're going to find there at your retailer, and he'll be very happy to sell them to you too, just to help him keep his lights on, because Lord knows the modern comics probably aren't doing it. So then buy alternative and independent comics, especially ours. So much great material out there. Tank Ferret says, Glenn, Pops and I were showing off my Hatch fan art not too long ago. There you go.
Thank you.
Yep. And,
so you should be.
Tank says Gil was an awesome dude. Yeah.
Yep.
Great artist. All right, folks, until next time. We do this twice a week, Friday mornings at 5 a.m. for Comics by Night, where we look at great comic book sequential art and stuff. And then Sunday morning, we do Sunday Funnies, and that's at 9 a.m. These times are all Eastern Standard Time because I'm here in the middle of Michigan. But this Sunday, 9 a.m., we are going to look at this great little hardback book. This is Superman from the 30s to the 70s.
Wow.
I don't think this book's been opened in a few decades, but it's got all the great classic samples of the great classic artists that have handled Superman all the way up through the Neil Adams and the Kurt Swan eras. It's just fantastic stuff. Some really hot stories in here, and we'll be looking through as much as we can here Sunday morning, 9 a.m., right on these same channels. And just to kind of celebrate the fact that Superman movie's coming out in a few weeks, I figured I'd dig that book up, dust it off, and we'd take a look. Siegel and Schuster, it's Mort Weisinger. There's so much great. Carmine Infantino is in here, Kurt Swan, Neil Adams, just some fantastic stuff. Take a look at that. Let me just turn it to a splash page and show you.
Oh, it's all in black and white as well.
It's in a combination of both black and white and color, but mostly black and white, just so that you can see the ink lines and enjoy that. Look at that great work. World War II Superman. Lots of soups coming up. That's on Sunday Funnies, 9 a.m. Folks, thanks again for stopping by. We'll see you again soon. Be kind to each other. Try to be more social on those antisocial platforms. You'd be amazed where a kind word goes goes a lot farther than bitter trolling, I assure you. And if you love comics, tell people you love comics. Talk positively about comics. Go up there and post your favorite comic. Again, go through your collection, find the stuff that you love, and show it off. So the world would be a brighter, happier place if you did, and you'd give people some entertainment options that they might not be aware of. Just like today with the Doctor Strange superhero stories. Some just phenomenal stuff out there waiting to be explored. Tank Ferret says, whoa. It says, make mine indie. And Black and W for the win. I'm biased. There you go, Tank. Absolutely. It's great stuff in black and white. All right, folks, take care. We'll see you soon. We have a word of the day as we're going out the door, and
can't guess what it is.
We love you, and we're so glad you're here. And tell your friends. Like Russ says, we are underviewed, and we're showing off some great stuff here. Everybody should be watching us. So, do we want to do Mexican or Appalachian?
Appalachian
it is.
Hi, y'all. It's time for Appalachian word of the day. The word of the day is miniature. One miniature on top of the world, the next day something happens and you're not.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time with theory.
Some men
just want to watch the world burn.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
How dare you?
Get off my lawn.
Absolutely. There it is.
Fucking damn it! Oh, fucking damn it! Oh, fucking damn it!
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.